Port scanning is one of the fundamental reconnaissance activities of a cyber attack, and it can happen more than once throughout an APT attack campaign. Port scan activities generate distinguishable traffic within a short period of time. Thus, we will use real-time alerts to detect them. The first real-time alert example focuses on the distinct number of ports that a single source IP tries to connect to. We can change our criteria, the threshold value or the time window, to avoid false positives, depending on our regular network activity. In this example, we use 50 as a threshold for the distinct number of destination ports. We need to partition the distinct number of destination ports per source IP. We also used 1 minute for the time window. Our distinct number of ports-based detection rule might not be sufficient alone, since an attacker might scan a number of destination IP addresses for a specific port number. In that case, our previous rule would not be triggered. That's why we need another real-time alert rule which focuses on the distinct number of destination IP addresses a single source IP address tries to communicate with in a short period of time. With the second real-time alert rule, we will identify source IP addresses that will try communicating greater than or equal to 10 distinct destination IP addresses within 1 minute of time frame. Now let's start monitoring live alert messages for the last 2 real-time alert rules that we activated. Now we will use the port scan tool we uploaded onto the Foothold PC before. First, we will execute a port scan for the same IP address, but for a range of port numbers. We successfully identified the source IP address which performed a port scan with our first rule. At this step, we will scan the same port for a range of destination IP addresses. This activity is supposed to trigger the second real-time alert rule we activated earlier. Again, we successfully identified the source IP address which performed the port scan, only this time our second real-time alert rule is triggered. A security analyst should not exclusively rely on the alert rules and should use threat hunting queries as required. With this distinct count aggregation query, we can identify potential port scan activities. A potential port scanner source IP is identified with our threat hunting query. In the second threat hunting query, we are looking for the port scanners which are targeting a range of different destination IP addresses. With this query, we were able to identify the second port scanning activity which targeted a range of destination IP addresses for a single destination port number. That's all for identifying port scanning activities. See you in other advanced persistent threat detection and threat hunting scenarios with ACKLOG.